Making $100,000 with your coaching business literally just takes one system and one channel. Let me explain what I mean. But first, we're 6 weeks away from 2026. And I know some of you are thinking, I need to scale faster, I need more clients. But here's the issue. You're still trying to do it with content and hope, instead of building the right systems and a strong infrastructure, which is exactly why I created this video. Because in just a few minutes, I'm going to show you everything that I do for my clients, including how to make converting content, how to build proper funnels that actually convert, and how to build automation. And these are the same processes that allow my clients to make $100,000 a month, as you can see over here. And if you make it to the end, I'll give you the 3 funnel templates that I use for them for completely free. But that being said, let's get right into this video. So what I want you to do is take out a pen or a piece of paper, anything to take notes with, and I want you to copy my system so that you can make $100,000 within 60 days. So here's an example of what we did for one of my clients in October. They did $99,000 through Stripe in net profit. And the specific things that I'll be going over is first, how to choose your ICP. So let's go over that, right? So we have LeBron James over here. So one is that he plays basketball. So your ICP, first of all, is your ideal customer profile. So for example, LeBron James, he plays basketball. He's African American. He's one of the best basketball players, even though I think Michael Jordan is way better than him, undoubtedly, no matter what the stats say. But anyways, he's tall, he's a male, he's about, I think he's like 38, 39 years old. But that's who LeBron James is. This is his profile of who he is. And you have to create the same type of profile for your client. Where are they from? What's their age? What's their ethnicity? What's their gender? All that stuff. Because once you're able to identify who your ICP is, that's what's going to tell you how you need to speak in your content. And you also need to identify something else that is very important that people do not talk enough about. And that is if they are the rich or the general public. Because, for example, LeBron James would be a rich person. But if you're selling to the general public, it is completely different. Let me give you an example. If you are selling to the general public, you cannot be too direct with them because you'll be perceived as an asshole. So you have to be more non-direct, more calm. But if you're selling to rich people, they don't care. They want to grow and they don't care what you tell them. So you can be more direct and assertive towards them. But in my clients' cases, for example, one of my clients who did $99,000 last month in October, he sells to the general public. So, and he's somebody who's very straightforward, very, to the point. So we had to teach him to, calm down. Don't be so straightforward. Otherwise, you're going to detract those people and they're not going to come to you and they're going to think you're an asshole. So that's very important. And then after we choose your ICP, now this isn't just some theory that I found in a course, but like I mentioned, it's exactly what I do for my clients to get them over 10,000 followers and make them over $50,000 within 90 days. So here are some other client results as you can see over here. So first month working with this client, we did $37,000. Part of it was from Stripe, as you can see here. Then another client hit $28,000, $54,000 another month for another client, $273,000 for another client generated from January to August, and over 20 million views generated. As you can see, the views are going to pop up here on the screen of the Instagram dashboards from my clients. And if you're a coach who wants help scaling their business, click the link in the description so you can apply to work with me. But that being said, that's great. You know who you're going to talk to through your content, but now you need to know how to actually make content that'll attract your ICP and convert them into paying clients. So I'm going to head over here and just break down the 4 different types of frameworks in a short form video. So first you have your hook, right? So you have 7 different types of hook. You have a problem, a trend, a desire, a question, a topic, a fact, or a belief hook. I'm going to go over each one for you. So a problem hook would be something like, if you're making $30K a month as a coach, you need to implement this new system. That's an example of a problem hook. We're identifying a problem. If you're stuck making $30K a month as a coach, you need to implement this new system. That's an example. The problem is that their coach who's watching this video is stuck at $30,000 a month. So I'm targeting them with a pain point, right? So that's a problem. Problem is like a mix of a pain. And then we have a question hook, which would be something as simple like, are you tired of trying everything but still not losing weight? That's an example of a question hook. And this one actually ties into a problem hook as well, but it's just formatted in a question. So question hooks can be any of these 6, but they're just formatted differently, right? So are you tired of trying everything but still not losing weight? So this is very powerful because the person, they're like, oh my gosh, I am trying everything, I'm not losing weight. I want to learn how I can fix this issue, right? And then we have a desire hook. So for example, if you want to lose 90 pounds in the next 10 days, use this workout. Obviously this is not realistic. Nobody can lose 90 pounds in 10 days unless they do surgery, but this is an example of a desire hook. The person wants to lose a bunch of pounds in X amount of time, right? So now we're going to head to a topic hook. This is a good one. So a topic hook is basically like talking about AI. So for example, AI is going to take over, and here AI is going to take over etc., etc. That's an example of a topic hook. And then we have a trend hook. A trend hook is just something you're doing what's trending. So for example, there was a trend for businesses where they would there's people outside, they open the door for it's like brick and mortar business, they throw water at the person, rocks or whatever it may be, and the person comes back banging at the door, and then they're like, you see, so many people want to have our coffee over here at Dunkin' Donuts or whatever it may be. So that's an example of a trend hook. You do what's trending and relate it to your business or what you have to offer. And then we have a fact hook. X percentage of kids in Gen Z are becoming millionaires. That's a fact, right? So it's a point of interest. And then we have a belief hook, which is something like, you don't need ads to scale to 100K a month with your coaching business. So this is an example of me shattering somebody's belief that they need paid ads to scale to $100,000 a month with their coaching business, and I'm telling them they're not. So they're like, what the hell does he mean? I want to, see more what he has to say. And then I have my build up, right? So this is where you go deep, right? You're like twisting I can't say it because we're on YouTube, but twisting it even deeper into them, and they're like, holy shit, I need to watch this video. So they're going to be watching it. An example is, let's say we have the problem hook. If you're stuck making 30K a month as a coach, you need to implement this system. And after we implemented this strategy, X doubled their X in X days. So that's an example of a build-up. You're going even deeper, building up the person's either curiosity or going deeper into pain, making them feel worse, or just making them more excited and more anxious or whatever it may be. The buildup is more important than your hook because this decides whether the person watches your video or leaves. Because 80% of people can get past your hook. If your buildup isn't strong enough or you don't have a buildup, people aren't going to stay to watch your video. And for example, after I started implementing better buildups into my videos, my watch time went from 3 seconds to over 8 seconds in my short form videos. So if you're struggling with watch time, it's most likely because you don't have a strong buildup. Now we have our body, right? So this is just really simple. It's just a promise to your hook and your buildup. So for example, we talked about giving them a strategy to help them make X amount of money in X days. We're going to give them that strategy. And a big thing, I know a lot of coaches, the way they feel is, my clients have felt this before, they don't want to give away all the free sauce and all the free value because they feel like then people won't pay them. But it's actually the opposite, because 99% of people don't actually implement what they're told unless they're paying for something, because people don't value free things. So you can give out all the information, but if anything, those people are actually going to come to you to pay you for accountability and for you to tell them what to do. So never be afraid to give out free value, because it also shows people like, wow, imagine if I pay him how much more value he's going to give me. So never be afraid to give out free value. And then you have your call to action, right? So this kind of ties into giving away even more free value. So you can say like, comment fat for my free yes and no food list, right? So you just give that to them for free. And then later you can follow up and message them and be like, hey, did you check it out yet? How long have you been trying to lose weight for? And then another one, another call to action is something as simple as follow me for more tips. And then, send this video to a friend. Anything really simple. And I rank these as 3 different types of call to actions. This comment one is more of a heavy call to action, making them comment. You're going to have them go through your funnel, whatever it may be. And then you have follow for more tips. This is like, a small, really chill call to action, and just follow me, nothing too crazy. And then send this video to a friend is like medium, you're making them share it. But HSM, I recommend doing the hard or the high level, 3 to 4 times a week. If you haven't started your personal brand yet and you don't have any brand presence at all, and I'm talking like under 1,000 followers, then you should not be doing call to actions yet. You should be waiting until you build an online presence more. And then, give it like 30 to 60 days if you're consistent enough, posting, 2 to 3 times a day, all that stuff. And if you don't know how you're going to post 2 to 3 times a day, click the link in the description, apply to work with me, because I can help you out with that. But that being said, let's tie into the next thing, number 3, and that is going to be build funnels, but I'm going to give you that at the end because it is where I show you the free funnel templates that I use for my clients. So let's head over to number 4, build automations. So this is where we're going to use ManyChat, and I'm sure a lot of you are aware what ManyChat is, but it's basically connected to Instagram, Messenger, Telegram, and not X. X, you have to use Hypefury, which I can break down in another video. But we have ManyChat, right? So I'm gonna teach you how to do ManyChat automations for Instagram specifically. And for a comment, and I think it is a story reply I did? Yeah, story reply. So first let's start with the comment one, right? So the user comments on your post or reel, And then feel free to pause this video to see the automations and, write it out so that you can copy them. But first we have, hey, first name, it's blank here. So you're gonna put your name there, right? Establish that personability so the person doesn't feel like it's a bot, even though it is. Because yes, we're using a bot, but we wanna make this experience for them as humanly as possible. So hey, first name, it's Jack here. Here's my, whatever you're giving them, you commented for. And then they click send it over here. And then there's this condition over here. And a lot of you have probably not seen this before. So the reason why we have this condition is because if somebody has been through this automation before or a certain part of this automation, they aren't going to be sent the message that asks them the question that we asked new leads. So instead, it'll just send them what they asked for. Click below to get it, PS, I'm deleting it soon, whatever, and puts a link to the free document, the freebie, the YouTube video, their email list, whatever it may be. But let's say they haven't gone through this yet. What it's going to do is basically ask them for their email. So this is very important because the more emails we collect, the more leads we're getting. We can email these people, we can nurture them, and I'll break down email marketing in another video. And I'm actually breaking down email marketing in this video, so make sure you stay till the end. That's part of the funnels. I'm gonna break down how to do your emails properly. That's generated tens of thousands for my clients. So we ask them for their email, and then we set an action with Zapier where basically they get, once they input their email, they get sent to ConvertKit, which is what we use for this specific client, and they get added to their email newsletter automatically. What I'm gonna do in this video is a little bit bonus for you guys. I'm gonna head over here to Zapier and actually show you that automation. So if we head over here, so this is an example, right? So specifically for a VSL, we use this one. So you're in Zapier over here, you're gonna make sure the first thing is ManyChat, and you're gonna click new trigger a Zap event. So I'm gonna go to edit it as if I'm making one. It'll configure, it'll be email capture. So you have to make a tag in ManyChat, and what you can do is you go to actions, you go to tag, and you press add new tag. You just type the name of the tag, whatever you want it to be. That'll pop up here. Then you go to test, whatever you test it. And then the second thing is going to be kit, and it's going to be add a tag to subscriber. It's going to be connected to their email over here. And then you click configure. You choose which newsletter or landing page, whatever it is you want to add them to, and then, or whatever tag they have. And then, you put their email, first name, you test it, and it's basically all set. That's all you need to do. Now, let's finish off this automation. So, and then if they don't answer, there's a follow-up that says, hey, are you there, first name? So this is just, to get them re-engaged with the convo. And then over here, after this is done, right? They send their email, whatever, they haven't been through this automation, they click below to get it, PS, I'm deleting it soon, the freebie. And then what we're gonna see over here, and if you look over here, it says wait 3 seconds, right? So for example, already went through the email stuff, we got their email in the past. It's not gonna send it right after this message over here because that would be a bit spammy. So we're gonna wait a little bit, wait 3 seconds and then send it to them. And then there's another condition, like I mentioned, if they haven't been through this automation over here, they won't be sent all of this good stuff. But because a lot of them haven't been through it, they're going to be sent this message that says, by the way, so it's going to wait 5 seconds, pay attention to that. By the way, I helped blank get past $30,000 a month in collections within 90 to 120 days and realize their worth. Take a look at some of the people I've been able to help below. And we basically attach a Google document of testimonials from that client's clients and, just to nurture them, give them free information, help them, and then we wait 5 seconds and then we ask them to book a call with us. So as you can see, you guys can go ahead, copy this text, use this template that I'm giving you guys. Now we're gonna head over to the story automation, and you can test different variations of these. I have different variations of ManyChat automations I use for clients, but this is just one of them that has worked very well, and we grew our email list, with hundreds of subscribers. Now if we go over here to the story, so you set it to user replies to your story, and then it's hey first name, it's blank to establish that credibility, the humanization. I know you want my blank training video, get it below. They click get it now. This time they're getting sent it automatically, right? So open it here and you put the link. Don't put a button because we want to, you can put a button if you want, but this is a little bit more personalized and less botted. And then we wait 7 minutes and continue. And once again, we come across these conditions. So if they have been through this automation, they will not get sent this message over here. They're just going to be sent that, get the freebie, whatever, we get them on the funnel. So, but if they haven't been through it, they're going to be sent, hey, first name, I wanted to reach out to you personally. Would you be against it if I checked how your blank is doing and give you a couple suggestions to help you achieve your goals? So this is really personal. We're not pitching them. We were just being really calm. They've been watching our content. They get our freebie, our free VSL. That's already enough to sell them. So more calm. getting to know the person and see if we can even help them. Now you've mastered automations, it's time to go to the part that you've been waiting for, the funnel templates. So the funnel templates are over here, and you see we have Instagram. So first, this person finds you on Instagram, then they're going to go to your VSL on ClickFunnels, right? So they clicked an automation, they got the freebie, whatever it may be. And I'm gonna show you what these VSLs look like. So we have two funnels. We have a call funnel and we have an email funnel. And then there is another VSL that I'll show you, that's the third funnel for after they book a call with you, but we're not at that part yet. So let's head over here. So two types of funnels. We have email newsletter funnel and a call funnel. First, let's go over call funnel. Headline, VSL, book a call. I made this mistake with my clients where I had a VSL and it was like headline, logo, headline, video, apply to book a call. Oh my gosh, a bunch of more information, like it was an e-commerce website, why this product is for you, all the testimonials, blah, 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 blah. I was wasting so much time until I did some research. I looked at high-level agency owners, high-level creators, and I realized I was doing stuff wrong for my clients. And after we implemented this, it's been doing a lot better. So, for example, how to break past your ceiling I can't disclose this is confidential information. I had to blur out my client, but this is our VSL, literally this simple. And on the bottom, there actually is, for example, a terms of service and a privacy policy, but don't worry about that. If you have somebody building your funnels, they should know how to do that. But if you want help to get that stuff done so you don't get in trouble by Meta or anybody else, click the link in the description below, apply to work with me. But it's really simple, right? Call funnel, strong headline, the logo up top here. Okay, so this is where it gets a little bit tricky. So I'm gonna break down both ways. Let's say you're selling to the general public, your video should be as long as possible. So for example, you see 15 minutes here. But if you're selling to rich people, it can be 5 to 10 minutes, you're good. And for general public, you can go up to 60 minutes. And the reason for this is because the general public is usually a lot more skeptical than the average rich person. They're always asking questions. It's like the meme that says the $40 client, the $400 client versus the $50,000 client, right? The $50,000 client is like, just take my credit card, whatever. $400 client is like, oh, what am I gonna get? Are there refunds? Do you have a guarantee? We don't want to work with those people. But if you are working with the general public, doesn't mean you're selling something for $400 a month. My client sells to the general public and he sells an info service for $10,000 and then, $1,000 a month after a certain amount of time. But you can make a lot of money with the general public, but you just have to do it right. So strong headline, and we're not calling people out specifically, right? This is more of a desire hook in a way and a problem hook, but not too direct. And then we have a 15-minute video, and you might notice there's a nice thumbnail here. And that's something that a lot of people get wrong in their VSLs is they don't have a good thumbnail to catch attention. That is a very important part of your VSL. And if you're building your VSL, you should be using Wistia, which is, I'll write this out over here, Wistia, basically how it sounds is spelled. And the reason why is because you can track watch time and all these different analytics. And you want to make sure there's a nice slope for your watch time and it's not just straight down. Then you have to fix something in your VSL. But we'll get more into that in another video. And then you see here, they watched the video. I'm going to basically break down the VSL. It's like who you are, why people should listen to you, give them free information. It's about how to get them past their ceiling I can't mention it, and then it explains what they offer, goes over objections, explains what separates them from other communities, and then basically has testimonials, and then that's pretty much it. And then it tells them to click the button below, apply, and we use scarcity for the general public as well. For example, I'm only taking on 4 new clients this month, so click the link below. That's an example of scarcity. Also, make your scarcity believable. Don't be like, I'm only taking on 1 new client this month. You're obviously not only going to take on 1 new client this month, you're going to take on as many as you can get. So try to make it sound realistic. But if you're selling to rich people, don't use scarcity, and your VSL shouldn't be too long. Also, don't expect people to watch your VSL all the way through because people have different times of deciding, you know what, this is enough information. I'm either going to leave or I'm going to buy their course or book a call with them, whatever it may be. Now that you know how to do a call funnel, I'm going to go over the email newsletter funnel. So this one is interesting, right? So we did this a while for my client, tested a bunch of different things, and we finally found a method that works. So, it's free information weekly, and there's a link to book a call in the email. So first you have, I typically do 2 emails a week for my clients. So free info, this is the first one. Are you building a clinic or a prison? Hey, blank, be honest for a second. Did you build you guys can pause the video and read this, but it's just giving free information, right? So this is a question/problem hook, right? So this is targeting people that feel like they built a prison of a business, but it's also asking a question and they're like, yeah, I did. And then you have your second email, which is, so for example, I do the first one Tuesday, the second one Thursday. Mornings work best for my clients, but doesn't matter for you, you have to test and find out. So we have a testimonial, free info, and then pitch. So how blank closed a $3,480 prepaid plan in a new language. So this is actually super interesting because average Joe is like, okay, $3,000, dope. But in a new language, whoa, how did he do that? He had to have mastered certain skills in English. So as you can see, here's a testimonial, nailed my ROF, 24, blah, blah, blah. And then we have the basically going over how he did it. So you guys can pause the video and read over this here. And then also, I forgot to mention, there is no CTA on this one, it's just free info. And then this one, the testimonial, has a pitch, right? So you basically nurtured them the day 2 days before, you're nurturing them again, and then you're pitching them to get them to apply to book a call with you. Now, after they've gone through these two funnels, let's just say they book a call with you. Now, the next step is not just to get on the sales call and close them, but to nurture them before they get on the call with you. So you guys should, one, already be confirming people before your calls, but that's like the basic surface level thing. What you should have is be sending them an email with a VSL. So the landing page, headline, video explaining what the call is going to be about, how the person needs to be prepared, and just testimonials. So for example, we have over here our client's VSL. Last step, after adding the event to your calendar, watch this 12-minute video so we can be on the same page for your call. It basically breaks down adding it to their Google Calendar so people don't forget. That limits no-show rate, that makes it go down. And then tell them, like I said over here, just telling them what the call is going to be about. And then under that, we have an example of email of what to do. You have to tell people what to do, especially the general public. So for example, I know the sender, just breaking down how to get people out of your spam, that stuff. And then, for example, here I didn't show the full thing, but this is an example of the privacy policy in terms of service, and then basically explaining what you do and don't do. This is super important so people can't sue you. Now, keep in mind, all this stuff that was done for my clients was done through organic content without spending a penny on paid ads. And then after that, they get on a sales call with you and you close them. By the way, I know a lot of you are not great at sales. That's why I have a team of setters and closers for my clients. That being said, if you enjoyed this video, drop a comment, like, and subscribe. And if you're a coach and you want help, and if you want somebody to go in your back end with this experience and completely revamp and rebuild everything for you, click the link in the description, apply to work with me, and I will see you in another video.